So I think it's highly possible, depending on where Bitcoin lies, that we see, another return down to like the 51 cent level, maybe even that 35 cent level again as well. But definitely something to look out for. Obviously, with altcoins, a lot more risky. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of WagmiTV. We have an exciting one for you today. We're talking about Fetch.ai, ticker FET. Definitely a big player in the AI space and has been riding the AI narrative pretty hard, and has definitely been one of those altcoins to watch out for the next bull run. So we're going to cover what it is that they do, where they've been doing or how they've been doing on price action, and then what some of the use cases are and maybe some of the implications of that as well. Before we get into it, just a reminder, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research before investing in Fetch or any other coins that we talk about. But now with that out of the way, let's kick it over to Mata to kick things off.
Yeah, definitely. So Fetch.ai is, I would say, an ambitious project building a decentralized, self-organizing network of what they call artificial intelligence agents. So really imagine a network of smart programs that can collaborate, access information, and learn by themselves to solve problems in various fields. These agents really act anonymously, interacting with each other and their environment to optimize tasks like resource allocation, energy management, and even financial trading. So Fetch.ai really uses unique technical features like a custom blockchain technology and unique consensus mechanism in order to achieve this. So it aims to really democratize access to AI, which we'll get a little bit more into later in this episode, really allowing anyone to contribute data and benefit from the network's collective intelligence. So a couple different areas that it has benefits and some differences for sure. But a lot of really important and interesting use cases that we can dive into a little bit. But Evan, I know you had maybe a couple things to chat through on this as well, so I wanted to pass it to you really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting project. Really, I feel like it kind of comes at the blockchain network or really just like a decentralized system problem from a different angle, where maybe instead of each user being a different node in the system and users are interacting between each other, they're allowing systems or products or different companies to integrate with their network by creating these wrappers around these customers' APIs. And one that allows people accessing the Fetch network to query different APIs for machine learning models that could help their products understand or find better insights. But also it allows these other companies to potentially monetize their APIs that they've set up to hook into Fetch's network. And so, yeah, I think it's very different in that sense because, we always talk about off-chain data, on-chain data, and how difficult it is for those two things to interact together. And I feel like that's really at the core of Fetch's system, where they want better data to be able to train these machine learning models. And that's really the core offering that Fetch is going to give you. So I think there's a lot of potential. It's very relevant right now, but also it's attacking a very relevant problem from a different angle, which is pretty cool to see.
I love that. I mean, that's definitely a better breakdown of the AI component that I could ever give. So that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really exciting, right? I mean, I think that the way that it's going to blend what's already existing in the AI marketplace with the decentralized component, being one of the first AI, companies on the blockchain and seeing how they can leverage that will be really interesting. So I think before we get into a little bit more of a discussion, we'll just pop up the chart really quick and see kind of how we're doing on price action. So let me pull this up really, really quickly. All right. So not a bunch to discuss here, but a couple of important levels. So obviously, historically, just in the last few weeks, I would say, last couple of months, we saw, almost like a immediate bump from this kind of like, 35 cent level all the way up to like the 60, 70 cent level. And what caused that was the fact that we had flipped this previous resistance that we see, 3 times in the last year or so, year and a half. We see that being a huge resistance there. And then all of a sudden in December, we're able to flip that resistance into support. And that's kind of what kicks us up this way. And now, as of most recent, we're kind of fluctuating between these two fib levels. And it looks like almost, I could say maybe some consolidation taking place, but at the same time, I don't think enough time has passed. It's been a little under a month since we've been in this area, in this range. So I think it's highly possible, depending on where Bitcoin lies, that we see, another return down to like the 51 cent level, maybe even that 35 cent level again as well. But definitely something to look out for. Obviously, with altcoins, a lot more risky. And so that's just kind of where it's been ranging. Why we kind of had that most recent pump, and maybe potentially what's coming next on the chart. Anything you guys would add?
No, I don't think to that specifically. I think it's always really tough with these kind of smaller cap altcoins to exactly figure out some of the TA going on with it. So that was a great job, especially using the fib levels there. You got to wonder if it's kind of forming a channel from that standpoint. And it's really going to run if your NVIDIAs and some of your bigger AI players continue to run like they have been. Right? I think it's really riding that narrative from a price action perspective. So we'll see how well those do. And I think that'll obviously have a big impact on Fetch as well. And it's interesting. I think when we talk about AI a lot, I think one of the big differences between Fetch and some of these other players in the space is that decentralization, like you mentioned, Sia. So, unlike traditional AI that's controlled by these big corporations like your Microsofts, your Googles, etc., Fetch really is trying to reach out and empower individuals and really foster collaboration between them. And much like a lot of the other coins and really anything in the crypto market that's using a lot of the blockchain, most of them, they have a big focus on data ownership, right? Users having the ability to control their data and decide how it's used, really contrasting with a lot of the current data monopolies that we see in the space as well. So I think there are some really cool and unique differences. I think they have a very, very lofty goal ahead of them as far as what they want to do, but they do have a lot of potential to revolutionize various fields, making them more efficient, more transparent, and honestly more equitable when it comes to kind of the population and a lot of the people around the world. So I think it's a really interesting project, really interesting coin in general. I know we haven't done a lot of the deep dive into the tokenomics, so we'll probably have to do another video follow up on this sometime down the road where we get a little bit more into the coin itself.
Yeah, I think it's a great rundown, and I agree. We might need to do a double back on Fetch and do a deeper dive. And to the viewers, definitely let us know in the comments if this is a project that interests you, if you want us to talk more about it, or if you even hold Fetch and are kind of bullish on it in the long term. But if you found some value in this video, definitely like, comment, subscribe. And until next week, Wagme.